Welcome to the Locked In Baseball Podcast. It is Friday, November 28th, Black Friday. I'm William Locke. He's Luis Barranco. We're live in person again from Memphis, Tennessee. Got a lot going on in Major League Baseball right now. Big moves. Offseason is flowing. Luis, how's it going?
Hey, we doxed ourselves again. We're back home. Happy Thanksgiving. As we say, happy rivalry week. Our studio manager wanted us to remind you guys it is rivalry week. You know, we got a large slate of some college football games today and football. You know, it is the Black Friday Bears at Eagles today at 3 p.m. Eastern. But we got the Egg Bowl, Lane Kiffin saga coming to a close.
Yeah.
We got the game tomorrow, which we got Michigan versus the state down south. I can't say that where I'm at right now, or I will be escorted off the premises for reasons. And we got a laundry list of baseball moves that happened this week.
I'm kind of surprised that we had a huge move on Wednesday. We were hanging out before dinner and Cease signed. We had the Sonny Gray trade on Monday or Tuesday.
Have some thoughts.
There's always the rumors coming out, some interesting reporting. So there's been a lot going on across Major League Baseball. I thought Cease was one of the biggest arms, you could argue the best arm on the market, and he signed before Thanksgiving. Maybe we'll see a little bit of a quicker offseason this winter. Who knows? It seems like Framber is getting kind of close to signing. I've seen some rumors on him.
200 M's. It's crazy. To the baseball point, we were told earlier this week it was going to be a quiet week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, Not to worry about anything till next week, maybe even till January, which
No, I don't know about January.
Well, we had that year where the Boris things didn't go till spring training, and I was like, all right, well, we're just gonna have to be chilling. We're probably just gonna have to record some tierless pods for you guys, and have some special guests. Maybe the mascot would show up, but of course the mascot's not here.
We do have a podcast mascot.
Yeah.
Crazy that he's been relegated to mascot, but anyway.
But
let's talk Cease. Let's talk Cease.
But the Cease thing, I can't.
7 years, 210, Toronto.
I think it's only right we do one thing with the Cease stuff.
What do you do?
It's only right.
Oh, I know what he's doing.
You don't know what I'm doing. It's only right.
I didn't even know he owns this thing.
I didn't even know I owned this, but we're gonna.
I'm glad he didn't wear this in October. I'll say that for that
didn't.
certain division series.
I didn't know I had it in October, but here we are, boys and girls. It's only right that we do this correctly. And it's time. The Blue Jays, baby. We're going to tie up some Blue Jays baseball. Canada's actually relevant in baseball for the first time in years.
Yeah.
For the Canadians don't have Thanksgiving.
They do it. It's earlier.
They had it. It's Columbus Day, the 13th.
Okay, it's on October.
It's Indigenous Day, is as they perform it, and they were like, excuse my French, they were like, hold off on Thanksgiving. It is our time. They're in office at work. They don't get the week that we do, that to hang out and everything. They had theirs earlier, but they're working. Blue Jays signed Dylan Cease to a mega 7-year deal pending a physical. Dylan Cease is a Boris Corp guy. He signed a $210 million guarantee. It includes deferred money that will drop the average annual value to $26 million roughly, and it presents the net value of the contract at $182 million. This is a big move for Toronto. We talk about them being right there close to winning the whole thing last year. They go get the mega arm that is Dylan Cease, which it's debatable to you and me if he's a mega arm or not.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Some people value Dylan Cease to be a mega arm. Other people don't think he's of that range. He's a tier notch below. But, it is a big move. Now they have Dylan Cease, Kevin Gausman, Trey Savage, Jose Barrios, and they have Shane Beaver.
Beaver, yeah.
Yeah, so, we got to talk about that. So
It's a good rotation on paper now. It was a great rotation, obviously, in the postseason last year. Didn't have Barrios in October last year, but you look at the rotation, you mentioned him. The thing that does stand out to me, it's all right-handers. You could bring in Eric Lauer to get some starts out of the bullpen. It is very right-handed dominant. On Cease specifically, and we say this all the time, everyone talks about this deal being an overpay. Can't believe Toronto's spending this much money. And we always talk about how you don't pay people for past performance. You pay them for what you project them to do in the future. Cease is 29 years old. He's going to be 30 when the season starts, I believe, or close to 30. He's basically age 30 next season. The deal takes him through his age 36 season, I believe it is, 36 or 37. The story with him, strikeout arm, most strikeouts in baseball, I believe it is, since 2021, and durability. If you look at his, just his stats, the games he started since 2021, it's been 32, 32, 33, 33, and 32 starts. He is one of the most durable arms in all of baseball, and he is one of the best, if not the best, strikeout arm in all of baseball. The problem with Dylan Cease is he doesn't go deep into the games, and he struggles with walks. If you look at innings pitched since 2021, despite starting, I think, the most games since 2021, he does not have the most innings pitched. He's usually a 4 or 5 inning guy. You talk to Padres fans, they're like, why did this guy make so much money? And I'm telling you, if you just think about it from the Toronto perspective, they probably think that they can fix him, they can fix the walks. And if you have a guy that's super high strikeout and he pitches every single start, every fifth day, it's a reliable arm to add to your rotation. And I also think about it when you paint a picture from the Toronto rotation, everyone's penciling in Trey Savage to be one of those guys, to be what he was in October next year. And I think he can get back to that. But we haven't seen Trey Savage pitch over the course of a 162-game season. We haven't seen him go 30 starts. And I think this is good insurance for, what if Trey Savage just doesn't have it next season? What if he's not the guy that he was in the playoffs? Maybe he's going to regress back to the mean. I think it's going to happen. So you have that factor. You have Shane Bieber, who's on a contract year. We'll see if they're working out an extension. So this is one of their guys that they'll have locked down long term alongside Kevin Gausman. I'm not sure how much longer he has on his deal. But I think it makes a lot of sense. People are clowning this move, saying it's an overpay, but with the deferrals, I don't think it's that bad. And I think it's insurance for, if Savage maybe takes a step back, isn't that number 2 or number 3 arm in the rotation. Maybe Savage is more of a 4th or 5th arm, maybe a 3rd arm next year. We'll see. But I like this move for Toronto. It makes a lot of sense. They're going after it. I do think there is an interesting discussion of what they do here from here on.
I think it's a crazy overpay. I'm gonna take the contrary to you. I just think this move is a massive overpay. Dylan Cease at that value at $30 million. I know it's $30 million right now, but I know the deferral is dropping down to about $28 million, as we said earlier. $30 million Dylan Cease is right in the range of more than Garrett Crochet, Tyler Glasnow, Max Fried, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Carlos Rodon.
You threw Carlos Rodon at the very end. But the other names you mentioned, those are some of the best arms in baseball.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, is Dylan Cease one of those guys? Like, we talk about that number. Okay, if that was 30, but we're looking at the net deferrals, 26 million, roughly 26 million. That puts you in that range. Who would you rather have out of those guys?
Not Cease.
Not Cease. And then Corbin Burns got 35 last year, which I understand.
Yeah, that's incomplete because he did get hurt. That's
but still, Corbin Burns is one of those guys. He's AL East. He's AL East. I don't want to say he's proven AL East. He pitched in Baltimore, and that season was up and down for him. But he still pitched in the East. So I'm just not a fan of this. I understand it is Canada. You do have to overpay to get free agents to go to Canada, and I just don't feel I don't feel it's a move like that really raises their ceiling. Okay. Like, I feel like it's a good player, but I just feel like that money could be shifted other places. Like, I feel like you could have gotten better pen arms. You could have gotten a crazy closer to in the back end, build the bullpen. You could have gotten that bat. And then you could have, I don't want to say bargain bin the starters, but there are starters available that you could have signed at a cheaper price. You could have, I don't know, maybe not Framber, but what if you just go get Joe Ryan? We got to talk about that Joe Ryan, and it's going to lead into my next discussion on starting pitching in free agency. Joe Ryan is on a super team-friendly deal. I know it's going to take you a lot of money, a lot of prospect.
I thought he's in arbitration still.
Yeah, but I think they're projecting it's going to be 2 years, $20 million. And I feel like that at 2 years, 20.
Oh, he's got 2 years of control left.
Yeah, 2 years of control. So it's going to be, he's team control till 27, and he's going to be arbitration for the next 2 years. I think you definitely make a play for him. And if you're a win now team like Toronto, you have to go do these moves. I just think it's just like the move just doesn't make that much, not sense to me. It does, but I just think your money is better off allocating in other places. What if, let's say, with that, we're talking $218 million. We're talking about $30 a year. 26 with the deferrals? What if you would have gotten a shutdown closer like a Ryan Helsley or a Devin Williams to put in the bullpen? I don't. You shut down loosely.
I would have said Edwin Diaz, if you're saying shutdown closer.
Yeah, but is Edwin Diaz going to go north of Canada? That's the thing. A lot of these guys. I'm just saying you would have to overpay. I'm just saying you could have built up the bullpen and then you could have thrown that money for another bat. That's my thing.
I think that's fair. I don't know if rotation was the spot they needed to fix the most because we've already. And by the way, Gausman is a free agent after next season, so he's a pending free agent.
Maybe it's a bridge. That's what I thought. It's a bridge, but then yet again, I look at there's so many arms you could trade for. Mitch Kellers of the world, Sandy Alcantara's, Edward Cabrera. The Marlins have a bevy of arms, so many arms to deal with that I think they could have called one up and gotten one of those. I don't want to say cheaply, but I feel like in a good price. Like what about a Sandy Alcantara? Would have made a total sense in Toronto.
Yeah.
And it's just we understand they're gonna go up in payroll. I don't know what their payroll number is last year, but
they were 5th in payroll last year.
But I do know they will go up in payroll, and so I'm very interested to see how much they push the payroll boundary. What was their payroll last year?
I can look it up. I think they were around 250.
So yeah, what if they push the third apron, which was like 300, 310, somewhere around that?
They were estimated next year 263, and this year they were 258. So they were above that 240 threshold.
I'm just saying you could have done a lot more with that money, and I understand it could be a bridge move.
Well, I think that's the interesting discussion now is they just spent a lot of money on a starting pitcher that they didn't necessarily need. It wasn't necessarily the biggest weakness of the team for 2026. But if you turn the page to 2027 when Gausman and right now Bieber are off the books, yeah, it makes sense, a long-term rotation piece. But now, everything we've read, it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to go out and get both Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette. Those are two guys that they've been heavily linked with this winter. What does this mean for them now moving forward? Because I think this takes them out of the Tucker sweepstakes. I think if you're a Blue Jays fan or if you're part of the front office, I think they are going to prioritize bringing Bo Bichette back over bringing in Kyle Tucker. And that's interesting because now they're, Bichette's going to get a big money deal. It's at least $100 million. 200 million is the number we're seeing floated out there. So what happens now? Those are two major contracts for two big name free agents this winter. That's going to push payroll to like 275.
I mean, they're going for it. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with the lockout. And, we talk about salary cap, salary floors, limits, and everything. There could be teams that can get grandfathered in. And I think at this point, if there's a way, and I know I'm talking very like loosely and very like hypothetically right now because I haven't done that much into like the salary cap. But say they put a salary cap limit at like 250 or 275.
Oh God, that'd be horrible.
And teams, you have to grandfather in those teams that are over.
Yeah.
Like, and if it's a hard cap, then those teams can't sign anybody. So then they're gonna have to shed money eventually. So why not just go crazy, throw money? You eat money this year in a way where you're gonna have to pay the tax. But I mean, you're going for it. You're that close. The AL is wide open. You look at these teams in the American League. Seattle hasn't done anything this offseason to.
They brought Josh Naylor back,
but it's not getting better. It's status quo.
Yeah, that's right.
Boston already lost Bregman as of now, as we're recording. He hasn't re-upped. We'll talk about them later. They haven't done anything to counterbalance that. The Yankees, Trent Grisham. Are we losing? Is Trent Grisham a difference maker in 2026?
Not in the grand scheme of winning the pennant. No.
No. What other teams? What other Central team? The Tigers haven't done anything unless Gleyber Torres. Like no. My whole point is nobody in the American League has made a move to get better. And I actually like, for as much as I don't like this move with Cease, like I'm not a fan of it. I'm not like hating it, but like I do give props to front offices that go out and make moves and actually try to get better.
Yeah.
And they see that there's an opening and they're going for it. And you have to give kudos and props to the Toronto front office. And they've always been a front office trying to do, what's best for the team and trying to improve, going after big name free agents like Vladdy and Soto. But it's just nobody wants their money. They're always the bridesmaid. They're always third or fourth in line. So.
And this was some people had Cease as the best free agent arm on the market this winter.
Who do you prefer, Cease or Framber?
Framber has a more consistent track record, Cease has the higher upside, in my opinion.
Do you prefer Cease or Joe Ryan?
I would say depends on what you would have to take to get him, but probably Joe Ryan.
I know he's unproven, but relatively, but I would take Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
I watched him at Yankee Stadium start that he did and just shut the whole Yankee lineup down. I mean, I know it's a small sample size, but I've seen a couple of his start, but I watched that game like front to back, and that was a crazy game. Let me ask you this, Sandy Alcantara or Dylan Cease?
Cease.
Really?
Well, have you seen Sandy pitch since the Tommy John?
Sandy's been better. His stuff's still there. It's just been location. I think like with the right tutelage, like he'll be all right.
And I think that's the whole thing with Toronto. I think signing Cease is they think they can fix the walks. I think that's what it's going to be. And it's a durable guy. They have a lot of big free agents coming off the books next year. Springer, Gossman, and Bieber right now, all pending free agents after the 26th season. So this makes a lot of sense.
What if they, in a hypothetical?
Those are the big names, by the way.
What if in a hypothetical, we see Kyle Schwarber available right now, and then we know Kyle Schwarber. It's kind of like he's either going to go back to Philadelphia, to Citizens Bank, or he's going to go home to Cincinnati. He's from the area. We do hear teams like Boston floated out in the Schwarber sweepstakes.
Yep.
We see teams like the Orioles in the Schwarber sweepstakes, and we see the Pirates.
Yeah, that's great.
What if, and this is just completely hypothetical, Toronto has a DH that it's really not working out this year, in Anthony Santander. What if they decide to trade Anthony Santander to, like, let's say a Pirates team, and we'll be like, hey, you take on this, we attach a prospect, or we attach some cash that they eat the contract, so they have more spending money for free agency and go for it.
No one's taken on. No one. I mean, it's $21 million a year. Well, it dips down to 14. It's not that bad. He's 31. It's funny because we talk about everything that, and I'm getting off topic a little bit. Everything that we talked about with Toronto last year, the small ball, the putting the ball in play in the playoffs. Santander was like the complete opposite of that, and that was their big name free agent last winter. And he was hurt most of the season, didn't really play. Tried in the DS against the Yankees.
Wasn't great.
Wasn't good. He doesn't really make sense on that roster to me. So it would make sense.
What if he goes to the Orioles? They back home to the Orioles and they eat a little bit of cash and they place him out there, or he goes to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh seems like a team that would be desperate to get a guy like Santander. Just be like, hey, we're doing something.
And we attach a prospect or some cash, either or.
If you're Toronto,
yeah,
attach a prospect. You'd have to pay down some of the contract for sure.
Or you just take a high leverage guy, like a high upside guy. Excuse me, a really really high leverage guy. Like not high leverage, high ceiling. Excuse me.
Like a prospect?
Yeah, high ceiling prospect. Volatile.
From Pittsburgh?
Yeah, to Pittsburgh from both.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like an anti-Pittsburgh move, but given what we've heard from reporting this winter of Pittsburgh trying to go out and sign somebody, Pittsburgh could be an interesting.
Pittsburgh sends an arm back or one of their outfielders back, like a Swinensky, like Jack Swinensky. That'd be a fit. Like
Santander makes no sense on this Blue Jays roster for me.
It didn't work, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, the whole MO with the Blue Jays is we're going for it, and like I said, it's great. So why not just go for it and just sign Bichette and Tucker?
Oh God!
You trade Santander to open up the cash, and
they wouldn't be able to get rid of.
We ball.
They're definitely they're going for it, and they're putting pressure on the rest of the American League East, which we can pivot over to the trade that happened earlier this week. Sonny Gray going to the Boston Red Sox. In return, Boston ships out their number 5 overall prospect. I think he was an A-ball this year, and also Dick Fitz. Important note for this deal is that St. Louis is shipping $20 million to Boston next season to pay down some of that Sonny Gray contract, which is obviously very important because he's slated to make $31 million in payroll. There's been some conflicting reporting. Mutual option for 27 is confirmed. Some people are saying there's a $5 million mutual option buyout. Some people are saying there's a $10 million mutual option buyout. So the contract could be anywhere from $31 million to $41 million next season. But St. Louis is paying some of that down. I posted a video the other day on this to our social, which drop us a follow, Locked In Baseball Pod on all social medias. St. Louis to me is waving the white flag on next season. It's a new regime, Chaim Bloom taking over, and they're going to be moving Arenado next. They're going to be moving Brendon Donovan. They could be moving other people for all we know. And then interesting report from Boston side of things is it seems like they're going to pivot now to bats instead of continue with the arms.
And this is like you're on my point, which I've been like harvesting this for like when this trade happened on Monday, I believe it was.
One of the days, yeah, Monday or Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday when the trade happened, I'm like, this is clearly a sign that Boston is sending. We've known how Boston with Craig Breslow and that whole staff operates, in which they're very, I don't want to call them frugal, but they're very like, you probably have the word.
They give you the vibe that they think they're smarter than everybody else.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to be mean to them, but they kind of like, they're very analytical in a way and very, how do I explain this in a nice sense? I don't want to come at them. Like,
I think it's what I said. They think this is going to be the move to be the number 2 guy behind Crochet, which makes no sense to me.
To me, it makes sense. It just showed me, it showed the hand of free agency, and it showed the hand of what Boston's doing. Boston doesn't spend much. They're very, I don't want to say anti-spend, but they're very hesitant on spending money. They look at things in a holistic approach where a lot of teams look at like the contracts and go, how can we win 2 to 3 years? They're looking at it whole scope. And by them trading Sonny Gray, it clearly shows me that they went in and talked to agents at the meetings. There was the meetings recently, GM meetings were like a week ago. Met with agents. Boris met. The starting pitching number prices were probably ridiculous.
I mean, we saw what C's went for.
Exactly. And this was before, before that happened. The starting pitching price market, the prices are out of this world. And Boston's like, okay, we're not going to be spending $200 million on a Cease, on a Framber. They just don't think that the longevity of that contract, it's not going to like, the contracts don't age well. And I think that's what Boston really does a good job at evaluating. So when that happened, and the next day we see the Cease contract come down at $200 million, it just showed me that the pitching market, starting pitching market's ridiculous, and the reliever market is going to be ridiculous. And but now that they're pivoting to bats, I think this was the move that they had to do. And I look at the trade, and honestly, I've always thought of Sonny Gray as like a lower tier regen Zach Greinke, where he's a guy that dominates at like places like Cincinnati, Oakland, and small markets, and then he goes to like big teams like Boston and New York, and he's not that great. And I mean, him as a number 2 guy, I think it's a great fit. I do like the deal in that regard. He will have to work out some things pitching at these ballparks. I did see that his ERA is quite high at Yankee Stadium, at Fenway. And especially if you're a fly ball pitcher, the ball flies out, will be really crazy numbers out in Boston. But I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. I really do like the move. He's not asked to be a number 1. He is a number 2 guy. They do have a podcast favorite, and Brian Bello, who I do think he could be a guy that could elevate to number 2 status this season. A guy that picked the click this year.
I saw they might move him. There's rumblings.
They could, but I'm just saying. I think Boston's really doing a really good job at allocating their funds, and the fact that the Cardinals are eating $20 million just shows that Boston was not in the market to spend money. And I think that's smart. I think we've seen it with regimes recently, like the Mets do the same thing. The Mets are very risk adverse in spending money on these long contracts for pitchers. So now they're going to spend all their resources in bats. And I think the bats market, like the high tier bats markets with Schwarber, Tucker, Alonso, Bregman, I think it's a market that you're going to want to buy into. I think it's a market it's a buyer's market.
I'd rather, if you look at Boston's payroll, a good thing, or a thing that they've been good at doing recently, is giving out the bad long-term contract. Like, you think of all the bad long-term contracts the Yankees have had or have had on their books. Boston, they had the Devers contract, which a lot of executives around the league would argue was a bad deal. They got off of that. They got off of all that money to San Francisco, which was a huge move last year. That move will continue to be underrated from the Boston side of things, in my opinion. It allowed them to re-up Roman Anthony. They've re-upped, obviously, Garrett Crochet. He's a 6-year, 170, which is going to continue to look like a tremendous underpay. Crochet got paid less than Cease, and he's younger. That's crazy.
Like I said, I think this is a great trade from Boston, and I feel like, the Cardinals are waving the white flag, but I feel like they've been a team that's needing to wave the right flag.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense that Boston and the Cardinals are making this trade. Heimblum used to work for the Red Sox, so it's kind of like there's some sort of like familiarity with that system. so he kind of doesn't have to like deep dive into the prospects. And like I said, a lot of times these trades happen between GMs that know each other or worked for the organization in the past, and they don't really need to do that much research and scouting because they've had the files and the archives firsthand and dealt with these players. So, I mean, great trade for Boston. I do feel like it's going to be a tough year for the Cardinals. But
Can I say on Boston, or were you going to move on?
I was going to talk St. Louis, but go on Boston.
I just don't like. I don't love it as Sonny Gray is your number 2 starter if you're trying to win a World Series.
But is he going to be? But I'm just saying Boston has a lot of guys that can elevate to be a number 2 starter this year.
They have the young guys, which is Peyton Tolley and
Yeah.
the lefty Connolly early that looked really good in the wild card start against the Yankees. They're in the conversation, but I don't know. We were hearing Joe Ryan before the winter. We were hearing one of the free agent arms, and now it's Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray. It's Sonny Gray.
The Joe Ryan price is high. That's the thing. It's when you look at it, he's probably the biggest fish out of pitchers out of all those guys that we talk about.
Yeah.
And he has so much control. And I mean, Minnesota's in a clear rebuild, and we know how hard it is to find good elite starting pitching at how old Joe Ryan? 26, 27?
Yeah, he's young.
He's very young.
He'll be 30 next year.
But still, I just think it's going to be tough. But I enjoy this trade for Boston. Like I said, they have a lot of guys coming up in the system that can be pick the clicks, that can just be that number 2 guy.
And I think they will continue to be very active in the trade market this winter. Like, I would be stunned if Jarren Duran's on the roster next year. And I think you can get a pretty solid return for Duran.
Good.
Being 29.
But
I don't know when he's up for free agency.
I just think they just have to be careful when they make these moves. I don't want them to be ridiculous in the sense that they just start trading for trade. Like, you don't have to trade Jarren Duran.
They're overcrowded in the outfield.
But you don't have to trade him.
They're overcrowded in the infield, too, if they bring back Bregman, which I don't know if they bring back Bregman.
I know they have to make a move, but I don't feel like you have to do it. Like, I do feel like you can just wait and see who wins the job and, wins the job in spring training.
And then trade him.
I don't feel like you have to do it. Yeah,
The value's higher now.
It is because there's needs, but I just don't feel like you are forced to trade them. These still guys are young guys that haven't really developed, and like, I don't want to say haven't developed, but haven't really like proven themselves in the major league level.
Yeah, a lot of the young guys like Christian Campbell,
Marcelo Miles coming off from injury.
Yeah,
the outfield, yes, you have Cedon at center, but what if Cedon can't hit again? Like, the bat came along,
right?
What if
Roman Anthony's a sure thing?
What if the password doesn't work out?
Well, that's fine. They're not relying on him next season.
I'm just saying, it's just there's a lot. So
they still have Von Grisham on the roster.
That's crazy. Have Von Grisham. That was the guy they traded Chris Sale for.
Von Grisham is only 24 years old.
Yeah. He was once the future shortstop for the Atlanta Braves.
And he has no options left.
Well, I mean,
that's tough.
DFA soon, unfortunately, if he doesn't hit. And I mean, that's not a place when you talk about crowded infields, at second base, you got Christian Campbell, they got Trevor Story, Marcelo Meyer.
Cedon can play there.
But Cedon's going to be center. Tristan Costa's going to be at first base. I think that's the one position that Boston needs to spend. Can you, if you're listening to this, Craig Breslow, can you just go make the move for Pete Alonso? I know I associate Pete Alonso with the Mets, and I wanted to be a Met. From Mets fans' perspective, and for my fandom, being, an MLB fan and good for media, he's great for New York. But can you imagine, last season we got a little glimpse of the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry, hitting that 2000s era of, hatred and just absolute toxicity. Could you imagine Pete Alonso at your first base position, coming into Yankee Stadium? He's just Big Papi light. He's American Big Papi. Can you think about how toxic it would get, him getting plunked by Cam Schlittler in Boston? I can just imagine fights, and it would bring back that aura and that energy and that vibe that we had in the 2000s that we haven't seen in a while between the rivalry.
Yeah, it's definitely building, and I think Alonso to Boston makes a ton of sense. He'd be slapping balls off the Green Monster.
He would slap balls off the Green Monster. He would put numbers. Just imagine, put him fourth. You have him right there with Roman and everything. That's a good lineup. I think that's the bat that they need.
Yeah, I agree. They need the power bat. They need the thumper in that lineup, I think.
Yeah,
so
you got to do it.
Rotation's getting close. You got Crochet, who's the top 2 pitcher in the American League, and they're supplementing arms around him. They're making moves. They're going to continue to be active this winter. think if they're going to spend in free agency, it seems like it's going to be, reading the tea leaves, it's going to be a bat. So,
It's going to be
good move for Boston.
Bregman and Alonso. And, honestly, I like what they're doing. Like, the more and more we talk about it, I like what they're doing. I know Sonny Gray's not the flashy name, and I know it's like a retread type of name that's been there.
Yeah.
But I do like what they're doing.
I like him as a third, maybe fourth option for a playoff team, for a World Series caliber team. Good for Sonny Gray, though. He's going to be making like $41 million.
But do you think their window is World Series this year?
Well, they have a long window because Roman's
Their
starting
window's just opening, and if he hits well this year, cool. If not, like, it's a very low risk move when you think about it with the contract. It's low risk. He's 36. He could retire next year.
And I don't know how the mutual option will work, but I would imagine those like never get picked up.
Yeah, so they'll clear that cash out and start over. If it doesn't work out, it's a very low risk move, and that's why it's like a good move. Like, yeah, St. Louis had to get something back, and I mean, like, St. Louis at least got some decent prospects back.
Yeah,
so it's like it's a win-win. Sucks for St. Louis that they're not going to be good next year, and I mean, they got a lot of guys. That's a deep dive we got to talk to Alden about how bad the Cardinals have been at developing hitters. With Jordan Walker, Lars Nootbaar, then you get rid of Tommy Edman, and
Tommy Edman's panned out elsewhere.
Alec Burleson.
He likes Alec Burleson. I was talking to him about that the other
But
day.
it's just like, are those guys, are those headliners on your team?
Mason Wynn's great defender, doesn't really hit. Victor Scott never was a hitter coming up, really.
They got to develop hitters. They have good pieces that they just got to develop on the other side. So
Jordan Walker was a pretty big. I don't want to say bust yet. So far, he's been a bust.
But I mean, a lot of it, I think, it's positioning because he was a third baseman. Now he's an outfielder. I feel like hampers a lot of players. Mm-hmm. So
they're going to be very active this winter and get some guys out of there.
Where do you see Donovan? Well, I mean, Brendon Donovan's a guy that everybody's linked with. I know the Yankees are linked with him.
Makes no sense to me.
Why would it not make sense to you in New York?
Infield's crowded.
What do you mean?
Can he play short?
No.
So
what do you mean? That our buddy Caballero is playing short next year.
Brendon Donovan, primary second baseman.
Okay, but let's put GM.
Low strikeout rates, which I really like.
Let me put my GM hat on.
Okay.
Next offseason, you got Jazz hit, up real soon. You can save a little bit of money, and you can move Jazz. Jazz still has that all-star, superstar potential. Like, he's an all-star, but he's not a superstar.
He was 30-30 last year.
Yeah,
he missed a month.
Yeah, and if you're able to save some cash and move Jazz somewhere else for some prospects or for other piece in the rotation, you get Brendon Donovan and a different type of profile of a hitter, but I mean,
he played six games at short last year, some in left, and then mostly at second. You're saying trade Jazz for this guy?
No, you trade for Donovan, and then you moved on from Jazz.
You let him walk in the winter.
No, you trade him. You can't let him walk.
He's on a contract year.
Exactly. You trade him in a contract year because you don't think you're going to pay him that. The number I've seen floated is Willy Adames money. And are you going to give Jazz Chisholm Willy Adames money? I think he's watching, and sorry to interrupt again, I think Jazz is looking at what Bo Bichette gets this offseason. And if Bo Bichette gets 7 by 200, Jazz is going to walk in and want more than that number.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation because the Yankees historically don't really give out these extensions heading into to contract years. He's a guy that would make a ton of sense for the Yankees to extend, though. He's 27, young guy. He's thrived in the Bronx. I feel like he's a great clubhouse guy. People love him. Judge seems to love him, which is important. GM Judge.
But is he a World Series type of player?
I think so.
You do?
I do.
With his attitude and, I know we're fans of him, but, some people get rubbed off the wrong way. His, doing, these press conferences, not press conferences, but these media availabilities at the locker room and chatting all this stuff, and then he's not facing the camera after games. I mean,
there's been some things.
Those are things.
There's been some things.
And is it worth that? I'm saying if Bo gets 7 by 200, he's going to want that contract exactly and more.
The thing that worries me about Jazz in terms of his player profile is the strikeouts.
And that's what I'm saying. Brendon Donovan or Jazz Chisholm?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I really like Jazz on the Yankees, but I feel like I would like Brendon Donovan a lot on the Yankees too.
And you are not a team like the Dodgers right now and the Mets that can spend these ludicrous amounts of monies every offseason because of just what the operating budget is for the Yankees. So if you're able to save money on Jazz and be able to fill out the roster, like you have to think roster construction at this point.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to re-sign him. He's in a contract year. Value is not as high as it would be if he was extended or if he had a few more years under his belt. Like when the Yankees traded for him, we saw the value that he went for. But it's an interesting conversation. Is if Jazz is going to be shaping up to be a Yankee long term. I don't think they're going to re-sign him before the season. I don't think they're going to re-sign him during the season. So I think he is going to hit free agency. I do feel like the Yankees have a surprising trade under their belts. I've said it off camera, Giancarlo Stanton, but he has a no trade clause. Are there places that the Yankees
send him to the Angels or send him to the Giants? The Giants need a 30 home run guy.
Where would he? We'd have no idea where Stanton would want to be willing to waive his no trade clause. California, yes.
He's a Cali kid. I'm just sending him to San Diego.
And that is a trade to me. And I know it sounds maybe crazy to some Yankee fans, and I know he has a no trade clause. But trading Stanton this winter would make a lot of sense. $29 million next year, $25 million in 2027, and then a player option for $25 million in 2028, which I imagine the Yankees, if he were still on the Yankees, would not pick up. He's 36. He's been good, but it's, we saw him in the postseason last year. It was very bad. It's not a bat that you project to get better. And
negative runner as well.
Very negative runner, very negative runner.
Negative runner, negative defender. He just doesn't fit what the Yankees are doing long term as how the team's getting constructed.
Well, when I think about roster construction with the Yankees, when you have a guy that has to DH and he cannot play anywhere else on the field in Giancarlo Stanton, that takes away a lot of flexibility in terms of lineup building, because every day it's just, all right, Stanton's DHing. The Dodgers have that problem with Ohtani, but Ohtani is so good that he makes up for it. Obviously, Stanton's not on that level. So if you were able to move Stanton to a California team, let's say he's willing to waive his no-trade clause, then you can slot Judge at DH, because I think the Yankees would DH Judge tomorrow if they could, just not risk injury at all. Okay, you get off the Stanton contract, but you probably have to pay some of that money down to wherever you trade him to. But then you're able to put Tucker in right field, and that makes you a much more flexible and versatile team. You can move Tucker to left field in some games if you want. You obviously have Grisham in center for one more year, but then, that'll open up spaces for Dominguez and Jones. And it just not having a black hole flexibility-wise guy at DH opens up a lot of flexibility for the Yankees. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's something that I don't know. I think the Yankees might be thinking about a little bit.
I think it's a good pivot point to talk about, but I do feel like the Yankees are looking for one more outfielder right now. And it's kind of like what the Post article said. They're looking for that outfielder, which is it Cody Bellinger's plan A? Plan B is Kyle Tucker. Again, this is something we have to look forward to. I don't think Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez are locks to make opening day next year. I think one of them will get moved because there's just not enough space to carry all of them. And so I think one of them will get moved for an arm because that's just how the numbers game is. One of the biggest things I think is really interesting about this offseason, I want to have a discourse about Cody Bellinger.
Market's on fire.
How is his market on fire?
Seems like he has more of a market right now than Tucker does.
And that's what I don't understand. I mean, last offseason, nobody wanted him. He was pretty much, he was thrown out of Chicago. I mean, Chicago Cubs fans gave him up for peanuts.
He literally got traded for Cody Poteet, who they got rid of immediately. They just wanted to move off the contract.
They got him out. They wanted to move off the contract, which was crazy. And I mean, before then, I want to look at his 2023 offseason. He had that MVP-esque year with the Cubs, and he was looking for $200 million, and the market did not give him $200 million. Mm-hmm. I'm reading the article back here from 2023 that he was seeking for $200 million plus in free agency.
Right now.
In 2023, after the MVP year.
Finished 10th in voting that year.
And it was between Toronto, again, and the Cubs. I remember that offseason. So now, 2 years later, I'm 25, where he did not come off an MVP-esque season, which I know you have the stats
MVP 14.
What?
He finished 14th in MVP voting.
In that 2023 year.
In 25 this year.
Yeah, but look at the stats.
He wasn't an MVP caliber. No, he was way down from where he was.
Look at the stats in 23 and 25, and we're still searching for that 200 number this offseason. The market, it just doesn't make sense. Something's not adding up. And you have to look at the source, how it's coming from Heyman that the Yankees have to spend, and that Hal has to spend, and then Bellinger having the number 200 again, that number against getting floated. I just don't think the Yankees are going to get Cody back. I think the market's too big this year, and I do feel like that the number's going to get something out of their price range, and I just don't think it's going to make sense. I think, yes, would he keeps to take less to stay in New York? I think so. But at the same time, I don't think he's going to, like when he has comparisons of numbers of the Angels and other teams like the Mets too are involved, and you have the Dodgers too with those, they're going to give higher average annual salaries. I just don't think it makes sense that it's going to happen. It's just not adding up. How are we going, just summary, how are we going from $200 million 2 years ago coming off MVP numbers to $200 million again off of a season where he didn't produce at 200 didn't produce in 2023? And also, we also have to keep in mind he is older.
He's 30 now.
He'll
be 30 next season.
It's not making sense to me, my guy. Is it making sense to you?
You have to think about it too from the agent side of things. Bellinger's agent, Scott Boras, he's in the media. He's making those calls. He's driving up that market. Kyle Tucker's not a Boras client, so his agent isn't going to be doing the things that Scott Boras does to drive up interest, to drive up that price. I think Bellinger will end up getting overpaid.
It smells like BS to me. I just don't think the Yankees are going to get him. I think the Mets are going to end up getting him where he's going to end up at the Angels. That's just my opinion. I just feel like it's going to get out of the Yankees number, and I just don't think they're going to do it.
And 10 times out of 10, I'd rather the Yankees go out and get Kyle Tucker versus a Cody Bellinger.
I agree, but my thing is like the Kyle Tucker number is at 400, and it's going to be that's longer term, but
younger player.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, and I mean
it's Aaron Judge.
I do understand.
You have to do everything you can to win this guy a World Series.
I do understand that, but I'm thinking out of the roster construction, GM-wise, who would you rather have, Tatsuya Amai, or would you have Kyle Tucker?
I'd rather have Tucker.
Yeah.
Because the Yankees have depth in their arms.
Well, I mean,
I don't understand the Amai rumors at all.
When Yankee Twitter's comparing Will Warren to Dylan Cease, which, I mean, it was quite crazy. It was like literal, like we have Will Warren at home, essentially.
That's ludicrous.
What do you mean ludicrous? The numbers don't lie.
No. But the Yankees have pitching depth, especially with Cole back. You don't have to go through all the names, but they have the young guys too coming up that they can trade. I don't understand the Amai rumors that much.
He's gonna end up at the Giants.
That's fine by me. I love Amai already because of the things he said in the media, talking about how he wants to go out and beat the Dodgers.
100%.
We need more guys with attitudes like that.
Well, 100%. But I'm just saying, with how the starting pitching market, I think it's not a buyer's market in the starting pitching market right now. With the numbers, $200 million, Framber at 200 is looking like Framber at 200 to the Mets. We had a report come out last night, 200 to the Mets. That's craziness.
And a lot of people are overpaying in free agency. I always say the best way to get good players, in my opinion, is the trade market. I'd rather give up prospects, high level prospects, when who knows what they turn out to, versus going out and overpaying for a guy in free agency.
One, Dominguez or Jones?
I trade them both.
But if you got to pick one.
Jason.
Okay, so you're trading Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't seen him do anything at a major league level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I'm the Yankees, my dream offseason would be the following. I go make the call, and I go get Brendon Donovan. I think Brendon Donovan is one of the most underrated players. Do I expect Brendon Donovan to end up on the Yankees? Absolutely not. He'll end up somewhere. Seattle, LA, one of those teams like that.
Which LA?
Dodgers probably, because the Angels are guaranteed to get Nolan Arenado. He's going to be the replacement to Anthony Rendon, and I'm sorry, Anthony Rendon
They bought out the contract.
They're buying out. He's going to retire, but I think Rendon's going to end up in the Angels. But I think
you mean Arenado?
Yeah, I think the Yankees should be 100% in on Donovan. I think he's the profile of a bat that they need. They need a guy like that. I think he slots in perfectly. That's one. Two, I go make the phone call and I go get Kyle Tucker. Go do that 100%. Go make that move. I think Kyle Tucker is the bat. They've been in on him since last year. It was the heel for Tucker, which, I mean, looking back now, should have done it. But, I mean, rumors. We don't know if it was something that was going to happen because of the whole Astros-Yankees beef. But that's move number 2. And number 3, I go look for starting pitching. As much as I like Amai, he is unproven to me. I do love the energy he gives out, but I'm very wary of the financial commitment that I will have to make for a guy coming to the Americas, to the United States for the first time. I go call up Miami and I give Jason Dominguez straight up for Sandy Alcantara, base trade.
Okay.
And then you have your rotation of Cole, Fried, Rodon, and Sandy. That's your big 4. And then
Schlittler.
Oh, no, I don't care. Whoever gets 5, I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Whoever gets 5.
Schlittler I would put over Rodon probably, honestly.
Oh, but there's Rodon, there's Schlittler, there's Warren, there's Clark Schmidt coming back in July. You guys like ERC, Elmer Rodriguez-Cruz coming, Ben Hess is moving up.
Yeah.
Chase Hampton's also in the mix. All these guys are in the mix. Go do that, and then go in free agency. Go find yourself some relievers. Mix and match. I think the Devin Williams number is going to be a little bit too rich for the Yankees. So just make those moves, and I think you'll be in a good spot. I mean, the Yankees Twitter now wants to get rid of Ryan McMahon because of the money, and I mean, how many years has Yankees Twitter? It's like. You remember Chase Headley back in the day?
I love Chase
Headley used to be like the number 1 offseason dream target and like trade deadline target, but the Padres would not move him. And immediately once the Yankees get him, it's like, all right, like we want somebody.
This is my thing with Ryan McMahon. How quickly we forget how frustrating it is to have a third baseman that can't play good defense. And then all of a sudden we get an absolutely nails third baseman defensively. And okay, he's not the best hitter. It was a half a season in New York. Let's give the guy time. But I think having a dude that every single time you get a ball hit to third base, especially when you have a ground ball pitcher like Max Fried, you feel comfortable with him at third base. He plays in elite third base. I want him on my team next year. I know the money is a little bit expensive, but go look at what Key Brian Hayes is making. He's making similar money, and he's a Gold Glove level third baseman for the Reds now. I don't understand the McMahon stuff. I like McMahon. I think he's going to be on the team next year, and if you have to platoon him, you platoon him. Maybe
Caballero at third.
Caballero plays some third base.
Or Jazz. You get Jazz out of there. Well, I mean,
Brendon Donovan can probably play some third base.
I mean, I just feel if there's one guy, like if I had to pick one guy the Yankees have to get this offseason, I know we've gone Yankee-centric, but
that's fine.
It has to be Donovan. I think Donovan, as much as like Tucker's that kind of a player, I think Donovan's like one of those like grinder type of dudes that I think like will just fit. And the versatility.
Well, look at the strikeout number, 92 percentile, 92nd percentile in strikeout rate. And
when was the last time you had a hitter like that in the lineup?
Okay, so for dream lineup or dream offseason, I echo a lot of the things you said. I think number 1, it's going out and getting Kyle Tucker. Okay. Number 2, I think it is getting a Brendon Donovan, and you just play him wherever. He can play all over the field.
Yeah, he can.
You just play him wherever.
Versatile.
He's versatile, and that's something the Yankees don't really have, especially with Bellinger now being a free agent. But I don't want to overpay for Bellinger. I think getting Giancarlo Stanton to waive his no-trade clause and moving him out west or something and maybe paying down a little bit of the contract, but getting that high strikeout bat out of the lineup makes a lot of sense when you already have like a guy like Aaron Judge who's a high strikeout guy. You have plenty of high strikeout guys. Jazz Chisholm's in the lineup too. Like, I know it might not be a popular move among Yankee fans, but getting rid of Stanton,
he can go chase 500s out west.
He
can go chase 500 with the beach, nice beach house. Like,
go back home to San Diego.
Go to the Angels and just go hit the balls in the rocks. And he can go chase it in Orange County. He can go live in the OC. Go do Hollywood. I think he's a good dude that can be really good in media.
Oh, yeah.
That I think he can go, go get 500 home runs. He's at 453. 2 seasons left, 25 a season. He can go chase it out there.
And it's nothing against him because he's been a great Yankee. He's had great moments, but it's a business. You have to think about what he's going to do moving forward.
GM Judge would never allow that, though.
GM Judge would never allow it, and that's
his buddy.
That is an important note.
Yeah, Stanton's kind of like, to me, I feel like GM Judge is like the teacher that doesn't talk, like the guy who doesn't talk. I feel like Stanton's like the spokesperson.
Yes.
Like he's a speaker of the house, like the VP.
So after those 3 moves, I would love the Yankees to go out and just fill out the bullpen because the bullpen needs a lot of work right now.
We do.
Bargain bin in free agency, make some random trades, waiver claims.
I don't want a bargain bin, man.
It doesn't matter how you get relievers because you have no idea what you're going to get from year to year. So fix the bullpen a little bit too.
Hey, I mean, right now the Blue Jays are the standard. The Seattle is the standard, and that's what they got to get to.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the other teams are improving. The West, I think the West is going to be crazy this year because we don't know. The A's are going to get better.
Yeah.
I feel they'll be the sneaky pick. I think like they're gonna be so underrated that they're gonna be overrated team. Like everybody's gonna be like, oh, they're the team that's gonna win the wild card. That they're just gonna flame out.
Texas made a good trade. We talked about that. Getting
Nimmo. Could be a Brendon Donovan place too. I mean, they don't have a second baseman now, so.
Yeah.
And that would turn their lineup right around. I think Brendon Donovan is just one of those like very versatile pieces that I think everybody needs. But I mean, Dodgers are quiet right now. Angels, Bellinger. Look, it's only November 28th. I think there's a lot left to happen.
Of course.
Winter meetings are when?
Oh, first couple weeks of December.
Where are they?
7th through 11th. They are in Orlando, Florida this year.
7th. What is it? 7th through 11th?
Yep.
So, yeah. So, that's it's next weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, conference championship weekend.
Next weekend. So, hey.
Well, Sunday through Thursday.
Yeah, next weekend. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I think the stove will get hot. We'll be ready. We'll be locked and loaded. Emergency podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, any predictions you have looking forward? Anything to note that you saw this week, read, or just thought about? I mean, I think the biggest thing for me that I thought, like when that Sonny Gray trade happened, was like, oh yeah, the starting pitching market is going to be bonkers.
Mm-hmm. I think the Mets get Bellinger and Framber.
Oh, so now you're on the Bellinger train.
I've been on it.
When
the Mets have strong ties.
When we were with your dad, and I was like, yeah. And the trade happened. I was like, oh, Bellinger's walking. You're like, no, it's not happening. Now you're on the train.
When was that conversation?
That was on Sunday, immediately after the pod, when we were watching the Eagles-Cowboys game.
What trade? We were talking Nimmo,
Simeon, and and I was gonna say, and I said Bellinger's walking, and I'm like, Bellinger's walking, Bellinger, and you're like, no, it's
I was
just
still processing.
No, he's walking. Like he's definitely
gone.
He gone. He's either going to the Angels or like he already has a World Series, so I don't think.
Yeah, he's not ring chasing.
He's not ring chasing. He has MVP. He could just go back to LA. I mean, We'll see.
All right, this was a fun one. That was longer than expected, I think.
Well, there was things to talk about, and I think we did deep dive some things. We had some things in our minds that we need to get off our chests. It's communication. Like any good relationship, you got to communicate, my boys and girls.
Hey, props to the studio manager. We have a much better setup this time. We really appreciate it. We'll be back probably virtual again next episode, but that's okay.
Virtual.
Unless something crazy happens today, which very possible. We'll be hanging out all day, but thank you guys for listening and downloading on a holiday weekend. Hope you enjoyed. We will be back sometime early next week. Until then, catch you next time. Peace out.